best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. You can visit them online at marcusandmac.com. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today. And what great news for IRMC with a brand new robotic surgery unit brought here to Indiana. And you were telling me it was not like trading in a used car, but you're able to exchange a unit that has been in place for quite a long time at IRMC for the brand new model. And it's quite an upgrade.
Right. It's called the DaVinci 5. And we are the first hospital system in all of Western PA to obtain this. Wow. And so it's another, remarkable thing for IRMC to achieve. And it didn't cost the hospital any money. It was no outlay. So, these things are $2 million or more than that actually nowadays. But we had a lease agreement on the old one, and we bartered an agreement with Intuitive, the company that makes the DaVinci, to swap it out for actually a little bit less per month than our prior lease agreement was.
Wow. Who swings a deal like that? Because we need you in charge of the Pirates.
Well, I think they were very interested in getting their new robot into the Western PA market.
Yeah. And what better place than IRMC, which has been a real pioneer in robotic surgeries here in Western PA.
Right. We have one of the highest volumes robotic programs in the region. And, a lot of that is, when I first got here, it's almost 8 years ago, 7.5 years ago now, our robot quickly became the highest used robot in all of Western PA. And so we do a high volume. We keep adding robotic surgeons. We just hired another robotic urologist. So we have 2 new robotic urologists. In January, my new partner, Dr. Sam Cosciola, is joining us. And he does robotic colorectal and foregut, the big hiatal hernia surgeries, as well as general surgery. So we just keep adding newer trained robotic surgeons. So we need the best technology for them to work with.
Absolutely. And Dr. Cosciola, he's a local guy, too.
Right. Yeah. Born and raised in the area.
Tremendous. So what is the upgrade with this? What makes this a better unit?
Well, if you think about it, the current robot called the XI is 10 years old. So think about a computer that's 10 years old, and the upgrades that have happened over the last 10 years. And so I'm told by the company that it has 10,000 times the computing capabilities, so faster processing speed. One of the other benefits is remote learning and proctoring. As you know, I'm a proctor for robotics around the country. I travel and teach robotics. You don't have to travel with this. I can open up my laptop. If one of my partners is having an issue in the operating room, or, we're partners now with Punxsutawney Hospital and Armstrong Hospital, I can zoom in through my computer and see what they're doing in the operating room and remotely give advice. And so, that's one of the other capabilities that you don't have with anything else. That I can zoom into any operating room in the country that also has an XI or a D5 actually robot, and I can do remote proctoring and remote mentoring.
You have talked in the past about the maneuverability of these robotic surgery units, and we can only assume that's not going to take a step backwards. It has to be a forward-moving thing.
Right. The biggest new thing with this is tactile feedback. The one comment on the robot has been you can't feel anything, but the visualization is unbelievable. It's 3D, it's high def, it's zoomed in. Now they have tactile instruments. I did not feel, I've used them, but I didn't feel the necessity. If you have a very highly skilled, trained robotic surgeon, I don't think it adds all that much. It's not like feeling with your fingers. You can feel that you're pressing on something. You can feel that you're pulling on something. But for training, for the younger surgeons coming out with training, now you get that feel that, hey, you're pulling too much, and stuff. I think for an experienced robotic surgeon, it doesn't add a whole lot. But for the younger surgeons coming out, it does add quite a bit.
Yeah. Wow. This is all fascinating to me. One of the great things about robotic surgery at IRMC is, as you mentioned, the number of procedures that you're able to perform and that you have performed in the years that you've had robotic surgery is amazing. But it seems as if IRMC has become sort of like a surgery destination for patients who have conditions that formerly they may have had to travel a great distance for. And might not have had the confidence because they didn't have the familiarity with other surgeons. here they're working with people they know, and they're top of the line.
Right, and that's what we're able to recruit top of the line surgeons because of robotics. And that's the thing. If you have the best technology out there, surgeons want to go there. And as a result, we've been able to recruit some top surgeons. My partner, Dr. Walkowski, robotically trained from Brown University in Ivy League. Dr. Chowdhury, who just joined us from Mount Sinai in New York, one of the best, if not the best, robotic urology programs in the country. We have Dr. Sharda, who came from Wake Forest, I believe it was. So these are all top programs that are now looking at us as a destination.
It's amazing. It really is. So at IRMC, robotic surgery is available for a number of different procedures. Talk about that. How many different procedures? I don't know if it's a quantifiable thing, but how many different types of surgeries can you do with robotics now?
Well, there's a lot. And in addition to our robot, we also have the Mako robot for orthopedics. So, the orthopedic joints program is going strong with robotics. But for general surgery, everything we do in general surgery can be done robotically. Your hernia, gallbladder. I do a lot of foregut surgery with the complex hiatal hernias, colorectal. As you know, that's a big part of my program is the colorectal. I do a lot of colon and rectal cancer. And for rectal cancer, the ability to get down in the pelvis lower than ever before and be able to save people colostomies that we never could do before is there with colorectal with the robotics that you could not do open with your hands. And your hands fill the pelvis when you're down there trying to do that. You can't see. Mm-hmm. And with laparoscopic, you're limited by the straight instruments and the visualization. And so the robotics have just done wonders for that. And for gynecology, for hysterectomies and such. And also urology is a big one. Prostates, kidney cancer, things like that can all now be done robotically with the healing time dramatically improve. The vast majority of my colon patients go home one day, which amazes me. I've been doing this a long time, and open surgeries, the average length of stay was 10 to 14 days. Now colon surgeries are going home the next day. And that even though I do it, it still blows my mind that we're able to do that.
That's amazing. It truly is. Now, we've just been through Breast Cancer Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I don't know, is robotic surgery an option for lumpectomies, the various types of procedures that you might do for breast cancer, or will it one day be?
Maybe one day. I think it's too large for breast right now. It's not going to limit the exposure or anything like that, or limit the incisions. There are a very select few places that are experimenting with robotics for breast. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's quite ready for prime time. I've looked into it, and I don't really see a huge benefit at this time for breast with robotics. But I think as the robot gets smaller and more refined, over the next 10 years, you'll see it.
Yeah. That must be one of the most exciting aspects of robotic surgery, is to watch the technology catching up to what the dreams are. And I know that when you first got your hands on a robot in order to perform surgery, you probably had all kinds of visions of how this could develop and how quickly it could be developing. And it is. It's showing itself to be the great advantage that you probably thought it would be.
Well, when I first did robotics was 1997, and I was out west, and long before anybody on the East Coast had it. And at that time, it was a thing that you clamped on the side of the operating table. Mm-hmm. And we called it a one-arm bandit. It was voice controlled, and it held the camera, and it would move the camera around for you. And it was called Hermes at the time. And so, but that has gone away, and they actually sold their whole industry to Intuitive, took over that company, and then kind of buried that product. But then it took a little while for the DaVinci to come out and get, it came out, but it wasn't really readily taken up or anything like that. Yeah. But now over the last, I've been doing robotics since 2009. It's hard to believe it's over 16 years that I've been doing robotics now. And over the last 16 years, it has just exploded.
So you went right past Rosie from the Jetsons and into the DaVinci system.
Right.
It's a really amazing technology, and to think that it's here at IRMC, and IRMC is really a leader in this entire industry here in western half of Pennsylvania. speaks a lot about the team approach that IRMC has taken, and about the leadership as saying, let's really upgrade this and make this a destination for surgery.
Right. No, the one thing we haven't talked about with the new robot is the autonomy it gives the physician, the surgeon. A lot of the controls that we have to ask the circulating nurse to go do for us to change things around the operating room and such are now on what we call the tower where the robot is. And that tower holds all these different sets of instruments that we use, the Bovie, the insufflator, which puts air into the belly when we're doing laparoscopic surgery. There is a vessel sealer that we use to control the vessels and stuff like that. And when we wanted to change the controls or take a picture, we used to have to ask the circulator nurse, who was very busy in the operating room, to go over and change this for us. And that led to increased time. Now that's all controlled in a heads-up display on this robot. We can do it all with our hands without taking our head out of the robot and change everything. And so the surgeon has much more autonomy and control with this, which increases your efficiency. You can put it exactly the way you want without missing a beat in the surgery. And so, that's the other big thing with this robot is the autonomy that goes along with it.
It's amazing. Better precision, better visualization, better maneuverability. Everything seems to be going on an upswing for robotic surgery at IRMC.
Yeah, and the other thing about that autonomy, those other instruments had to be brought separately. You had the robot, which was $2 million, and then you had this whole tower, which was about between 300 to 500,000. And we had to upgrade ours this year. We're doing a whole upgrade in the operating room. That's the other thing. We upgraded everything, all our visualization. All our monitors around there are all upgraded to the latest high tech and everything. So in conjunction with the new robot, we have new OR suites throughout the operating room as well. But with all these upgrades, it's just amazing, the capabilities we have now. But that tower used to cost $300,000 to $500,000, and we didn't have to buy one for the robotic room because it's included in the robot.
Wow.
So.
It's amazing. So a brand new robotic surgery system at IRMC, and you end up paying less for it than you were paying for the old system.
Right.
That's amazing. And probably all you surgeons are really good at video games if you ever had the time to do it, but you're too busy operating on people.
Yeah. I used to play video games, and when my kids were growing up, my son would have two friends over and needed a fourth, and they'd say, "Go get your dad. He's the only adult who can keep up with us on video games."
That's tremendous. That's tremendous. So folks want to learn more about robotic surgery at IRMC. What's the best path for them to do that?
Well, if they want to just even look at robotic surgery, YouTube has a lot of robotic surgery on it. But, if you come into our office, you come into the urology office and you see either Dr. Sharda or Dr. Chowdhury, we're going to be talking robotics, because it's mainstream for us. It's not something that's out there. It's not out of space sci-fi for us. It's what we do every day, and we're good at it. And so, we're going to talk to you about using robotics for your surgery, for more precision, better visualization. That's the other thing. And then talk about, that if you think about the advancements that have happened in TV screens over the last 10 years, well, you can imagine the visualization improvement. I didn't think it could get any better, but it's unbelievable how good the visualization is on this new robot as well.
And it's all here at IRMC.
Right.
Amazing. Dr. Dan Clark, thank you so much for coming in, talking to us about what is yet another upgrade in IRMC surgery.
Yeah, and like you were trying to point out, the administration a lot has to be said for them, to keeping us up to date and keeping IRMC on the map. They want to remain an independent health system, and they're doing everything right to attract top doctors, to attract top health care here in this area, in this region, to keep independence, us independent from everything, and to remain. We are the most technically advanced hospital in the region.
It's amazing. Truly is. Thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
It's Indiana in the Morning, and it's WCCS.